Okay, so if you're leading today, you know it's complex, you're juggling hybrid teams, tech seems to shift every other week, right?
Absolutely. It's constant change.
And on top of that, there's this huge challenge, making sure your leaders, your local leaders especially, are actually building the skills that line up with where the whole organization needs to go globally.
Hmm.
And, the usual assessments, self-perceptions, they often just don't cut it for really strategic talent planning.
They really don't. You end up with these massive blind spots,
Mm.
which is exactly why we're doing this deep dive today. We're looking at a system that's built for, let's call it strategic talent confidence.
Confidence, I like that.
Yeah, one that pulls together real observation, hard data, and very targeted human coaching.
Mm.
It gives you a proper roadmap for building leaders who are actually ready for the future.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Where do we start? The foundation, I guess.
Yeah.
Something consistent.
Exactly. The foundation has to be the GloCoach competency model, or GCLM. That's the strategic art, really.
GCLM. Got it.
It's basically a framework built around 32 core behavioral competencies, things we actually see in top global leaders. And it's not just some generic list. It's specifically designed to tackle that friction between global goals and local realities.
Okay, so 32 competencies. How does it structure those to, make sense of it all?
Good question. It breaks them down into three main pillars. First up is developing yourself. Think resilience, self-awareness, that sort of inner foundation.
Right, the personal stuff.
Then there's developing relationships. This looks at outward collaboration, how you influence people, building trust, especially across different kinds of teams.
Super important with diverse teams, yeah.
And the final one, really critical, is developing your business. This connects leadership behaviors directly to, well, business outcomes, like managing change effectively, driving results, things you can actually measure.
Okay, so that GCLM model sets the standard. But you mentioned observation. How do you actually gather the data? This sounds like the observational based assessment, the OBA.
That's it. And this is where it gets really different. OBA is not like a standard psychometric test you fill out yourself.
How so?
Well, it's designed specifically to capture what people actually do on the job. Real-world behavior, not just what they think or say they do.
Okay, so where does that info come from?
It comes from the Talent Zone 360 team.
Mm-hmm.
Their manager, their peers, people who report to them, we call them sponsors. And the data comes through live, structured interviews with these sponsors.
Live interviews. Okay, but relying on subjective views from sponsors, doesn't that bring in bias? How is that better than just a questionnaire?
That's the crucial point. You're not just getting one or two opinions. You're gathering a large amount of non-self-reported behavioral evidence, concrete examples of what people actually do.
So it's about the volume and the structure.
Exactly. The consolidated observations are carefully structured. They highlight strengths, pinpoint growth opportunities, even suggest specific behaviors. All this feeds into a detailed OBA report, like a precise map for that person's development.
Okay, that makes sense. But doing live interviews with everyone's sponsors, that sounds like a huge task to scale. How do you manage that consistently?
Technology. This is where the AI comes in. We use Lance, who is essentially the world's first AI-powered consultant, to guide those sponsor interviews.
An AI consultant conducting the interviews. Tell me more.
Yeah, Lance's job is really strategic here. It standardizes how we collect all that rich, qualitative insight. It makes sure every single interview, doesn't matter where or when it happens, captures the data with the same structure, the same depth.
So consistency across the board.
Instantly.
Huh.
Which means the quality and precision of that final OBA report is solid globally. And for the sponsors, it's easy. They log into a mobile-friendly app with their email via OTP, no new accounts, no passwords to forget. They can just talk, pause if needed, review a summary.
And submit it easily. Okay, so you've got this rich, standardized OBA data on individuals. What's next? How do you use that strategically for the whole team or organization?
That's the team talent analytics piece. This is where you turn all that individual data into actionable strategy for things like workforce planning or figuring out succession.
Bringing it up to the macro level.
Precisely. This is where you really gain control. The platform gives you dashboards, key visualizations. One really powerful feature is the team map.
Team map, what does that show?
It visually categorizes your team members based on their OBA results. So you can see at a glance, okay, here are our rock stars, but also here are the underdeveloped talents who need focused support, like right now.
And that sounds incredibly useful for targeting interventions.
It is, and the AI, Lance, helps here too. It doesn't just crunch the assessment numbers. You can actually upload strategic documents, say your 2-year business plan.
Seriously?
Yep. And Lance will analyze how your team's current Collective strengths and their gaps actually line up or don't with the goals in that plan. It shows you exactly where the behavioral development needs to happen to hit those future objectives.
Wow, that's proper strategic alignment,
Mm.
linking behavior directly to future business needs.
That's the goal. And that alignment, that predictive insight, flows directly into the final step, the advisory coaching.
Okay, so coaching, but based on all this data.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not just any coaching. These coaches are seasoned pros from the industry. They have deep operational experience. They give actionable, real-world advice, not just, asking endless questions.
So they bring that practical how-to.
Yes. And because it all stems from those precise OBA insights, the coaching is laser-focused on what will make the biggest difference for that individual. Plus, there are advanced AI modules that suggest personalized SMART goals activities. It helps accelerate growth by targeting the specific gap between current behavior and what's needed strategically.
It sounds incredibly integrated. The model, the real-world observation, the AI analysis, and then targeted human coaching.
That's the whole idea. Integration is key. When you connect all these pieces,
Yeah.
you really move beyond just assessing who you have today.
Right, it becomes forward-looking.
Totally. Imagine having the clarity, the strategic confidence to know exactly which behaviors your leaders need to work on right now to successfully execute a major business goal you've set for 2 years down the line.
That level of foresight and control.
That's what this kind of integrated system promises, real control over building the leadership capability you need for the future.